Well, after a great year making it to the playoffs, we tried to recover our team in the offseason. How can we start this year? Can we get back on the right track? What's on, guys? Jay Hoyt back with you. Today, welcome back to episode number 16 of our franchise mode with the Buffalo Sabres. So we are back here the year after we made it to the playoffs. And if you guys didn't see last one, it's a big one, right? It has some big updates for the team in it. And if you guys didn't see it, or if you did, you guys remember, or you should go watch, but if you didn't, we had a big offseason, right? And not necessarily a good one. We lost both Casey Middlestat and Peyton Krebs to free agency, both signing big deals with other teams. And unfortunately, we don't get them back, right? They signed elsewhere, and we had to figure it out from there, which then led to a trade getting our new second-line left wing, Alexis Lafreniere, from the New York Rangers, as well as revamping our fourth line, and it gives a couple of guys, back, some spots that, they were pushed out of kind of unfairly, but kind of not at the same time. So the lineup does look a little bit similar, though. A lot of same faces from last year. When we look at our top line, it stays the same with the exception of Batherson, right? He ended the year on the third line. He is now back rejoining that first line. Savoy, after his incredible year, he's going to start as our second line center, and after a great preseason as well, which we'll get to here in a minute. Lafreniere, though, does make his debut for us on the second line, as well with Savoy and Tuck, right? Tuck, still want to separate those two, him and Thompson, as they are the goal getters, if you will. Then our third line, though, Kulich, Cousins, and Peterka. Peterka makes his way back to the third line after last year where he spent on the fourth line. So Cousins, you kind of have a little bit of a bigger role this year. Not necessarily, but, if Savoy is kind of underperforming or just if we want to switch things up, we can, of course, kind of swap around anybody on the top nine. I think I'd feel pretty confident with that. As well as a brand new look fourth line, right? Not a single player returned from last year. And obviously, Peterka moves up. Gergensons, we didn't re-sign in favor of other players, as well as our fourth liner, Fortier. I think he was involved in a trade, if I remember correctly. So we did get Martinook. He did decline 2 overall since we signed him, and that makes me a little bit worried. But again, he's a fourth liner, so I'm not really expecting much. But if he does decline, a little bit more, not really producing, we do have a couple of guys we could bring up, some young guys, as well as a depth piece that we did sign just in case we needed to. So that's how the forward group is going to look. Defensively, here we go. So exactly the same, right? I didn't change it at all, right? We have Dahlin and Tarasov, Power and Faber, and Parks and Nemec. So Nemec, obviously part of a big trade, getting rid of Pesci to clear some salary. Nemec comes in and is on that, third line, but again, we could always swap some stuff around. Goaltenders, though, it does look a little bit different. As I mentioned I think it was at the end of last video, that this preseason was a open battle, right, for the goaltender position. And what was really unusual for the first time ever is when we look at Dylan Levi in the regular season the last few years, not great, right? It has not been a good time for did I say Dylan Levi? Devin Levi. So not been great. But preseason this year, he went 3-0 with 1 shutout, amazing stats, only allowing 5 goals in those 3 games, all starts, all wins. That's pretty impressive, right? So, okay, you had a really good preseason. How did Clayton do, right? We pushed out Tarasov, right? 2-0. Perfect goals against, perfect save percentage, no goals against, great preseason. Okay, then Tarasov must have done really bad, right? Well, we take a look at Tarasov, and he also went 2-0, but his save percentage and his goals against were the worst out of the 3. So we decided to send him down, and we'll figure it out from there. But we went a perfect, if you guys didn't catch it there, we went a perfect 7-0 in the preseason. I don't know how that makes sense, but we went a perfect 7-0 in the preseason. So, that's pretty incredible, right? After not necessarily a great year, but, that's how we're going to rock. So this is a quick look at our AHL team. We actually have a few really good prospects that are going to need spots sooner rather than later. So we might have to push some people out. We might have to bring them up. But both are basically our entire top six, along with our third line center, basically are all NHL ready, right? And they've been down here for at least a couple of years. Some of them are actually, Novikov is a rookie this year, but still, 78 overall, 20 years old, playmaker, but again, he needs a spot to go, as well as all these guys, right? All of these guys could come up and play big minutes for us. Defensively, we have a lot of good young talent down here as well. You take a look at our right side defensive core, Luka, this guy right here. Him as well as Dan's, both 21 years old, both doing well. Novikov, we had up there a couple years ago, and actually did pretty good for being his first year as kind of a fill-in guy, as well as Caden Korchak's there as well. So we're going to let the young players play, and Korchak will just be down there to hold down the fort. And as you might have saw, Tarasov will be the starter down here, as well as Radslav. So big year. We already did all the other lines. We're ready to get things started. And obviously it sucks that we lost, two of our bigger name players, two of our big players. But we're time to move on, right? Let's see how it goes. And, after a great preseason, I'm expecting big things. But again, we haven't, typically done well in the preseason, right? Last year was that exception where we made it to the playoffs for the first time. So I'm excited. Let's get the first month started off right. Took a few games to get going, but it looks like we're a little bit rolling now. 8-5 in the first one, and we'll keep going through the second half here of November and move into Christmas here eventually. So top of our division, or at least second in our division so far. So obviously we're on a good track. 13-7-1, few games left at the end here. January 1st coming up as well. So 16-8, what do we got? 25 games. Let's go take a look and see what's going on. So we take a look at the forward group. Thompson, Benson, Batherson, all doing incredible. Cousins regained. Kulik's up there. Tux. All of our top guys are doing well. Lafreniere, a little bit under where I'd like him to be, but maybe he's just taking a little bit to get going. Martinuk, 7.6 goals so far. Can't really complain about that much at all. -1 for Madden. If that's the worst we see so far, then I will take that. Power leading the team in points, which is something you never see. Dahlin and Faber, all with basically all the points. Again, something you don't really see too often. Tarasov, 8 points for him. Everyone plus-minus. Nemec 1 point, but again, we don't really need, many of our players to get points. So Levi doing well. Clegg not so much. I guess we'll give it to the halfway point and kind of see how he's rocking. I guess we'll take a look. 10-4. Obviously he's in the AHL, but still, his numbers aren't great down there either. Right? He's got the wins, but an 884 save percentage and a 3.12 goals against. That's not good, right? For having 10 wins, that's not really that good. All right, let's keep it rolling, though, through the middle part of December. Nothing I really felt like needed to be changed, right? So many of our guys are kind of doing what they're supposed to. A couple of guys, a little underperforming, but nothing I'm like, oh, this needs to be changed. But what in the world? We just lost, every single game right there. We were, 17 and what? 8? Loss. Overtime win. Loss. How many even games are we at right now? I don't expect much to be crazy in the next 6 games, but where did that come from? So our 41 game mark takes us in between the Lightning and the Penguins game. So hopefully the Christmas break brings some joy out of our team, because oh my gosh, what just happened to them? We just decided to lose 100 games in a row, it felt like. But either way, so after that little bit of a losing month, I can't even say streak, but losing month almost, we do sit 41 games played, 21, 18, and 2, sit at 42 points. We currently are in the first wildcard spot, but it's also very contested because literally every other team in the Eastern Conference is within 6 points, basically, of a wildcard spot. So we can't get too happy, right? That was not a good month for us. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, that was not ideal. But let's go take a look, see who was doing what. All right, so Benson now, team leader in points, 45, got all the assists in there. Thompson from the top line, 23 goals so far. Batherson with 16 goals of his own, 35 points, still really solid. Cousins doing very well, 32 points. Time to swap him and Savoy, maybe not. Kulik doing well. Tuck a little bit under where I'd like him to be, but still, we're not going to, adjust anything too early. Lafreniere, again, a little bit underperforming for where I'd like him to be, but, again, maybe he's just taking a little bit to get used to the new team. And then our fourth line, -2, but, whatever. -3 on Lafreniere, but again, I'm not really too worried about that. The rest of our team is seeming to be playing okay. So, Dahlin back on top of our defensive core with points. Power's still there, 23 points for him. Faber's up there as well. Still at 82 overall. I'd like him to grow a little bit just so I don't have to, trade him and, not have him be the superstar I know he could be. Parks with 7 points. I mean, not terrible, but also you have 2 other guys playing ahead of you. So if Dahlin and Power weren't there, I think he'd be doing a lot better. But again, we're not going to, jump down anyone's throat just yet. So Levi, 16, 12, 2 with 1 shutout, just above 9 goals, or save percentage, 3.15 goals against. Similar numbers with Clegg as well. Do I want to make that swap? I mean, okay, so his goals against have improved, but his save percentage is still kind of garbage. But maybe we'll swap him and see what happens. So yes, as I said, we currently sit in the first wild card spot, and that makes it good enough for 13th overall in the entire league. Again, with the record of 21, 18, and 2. So not great, right? Not good at all, but still a little bit positive, on that perspective. And what do we got goals against wise? So goals for 145, which does put us, probably top 15. Goals against does have us kind of in the same boat, middle of the pack. Power play percentage, 11.8 power play. So, okay, so we'll definitely need to address that big time. What else do we got? So, yeah, that's not good there. Penalty kill, 78.2%. That's not good either. And hopefully we can get one of our teams up here. 11-8 and 1 at home, 10-10 and 1 away. And our last 10 has been 4 and 6. Man. So we gotta figure some stuff out, because that big stretch can't happen, right? When we look at that streak, I mean, if you just want to count just for the month of December, so going 4-9 in the month of December definitely wasn't great. And actually, most of those are 1-goal games, now that I look back at it, right? Capitals, 1-goal loss, 1-goal loss, 1-goal loss. I mean, 2-goal loss, 2-goal loss, overtime win, so 1 goal differential there. 1-goal loss, 1-goal loss, 2 goals lost, 2 goals lost, and then a 3-goal win. So, we are fighting those close games, so we're good enough to keep it close, but we need to close the game, right? That's what the big thing is there. So I don't know of any, drastic changes other than our power play, our special teams, I should say. That's a better term. Our special teams. And then do we want to swap up the lines a little bit? Just throw a fresh look for the second half of the season, or at least until the trade deadline, and then see if we're going to make anything, happen there. We have a lot to look forward to and a lot to think about between now and the next video. And the next time we get back here, we'll get up to the trade deadline in the second half of the year and hopefully end up being in a playoff spot and eventually make it into the playoffs. But either way, that's going to do it for today's video. If you did enjoy, make sure to hit the like button down below. Most importantly, subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, guys, we'll see you in the next one.